Toni lives in a little village in Oxfordshire. She currently works part-time in a primary school managing finance and registration. She has 2 young children, aged 7 and 5. They enjoy family walks with coffee and cake. She's also a carer for her husband. She has recently started her training to become a support volunteer with Encephalitis Society. Toni, if you'd like to come, please.
Hi, I'm Toni, I'm Tom's wife. I've got everything written down because I'm absolutely shaking, so please bear with me. And I think I need to do something here which I wasn't prepped for. Okay, there we go. Okay. Tom and I have been together for 15 years. Prior to starting our encephalitis journey, Tom was a hard-working tree surgeon 6 days a week. I was working as a personal trainer. We live in a small village, and that is how Tom and I met. We love to holiday, socialise with friends, go to concerts and comedy nights, and we used to enjoy a few spontaneous trips. I've put with a cocktail. I don't know if I should mention that now. With a cocktail, a few cocktails. We got married in April 2012 in our local church amongst our closest family and friends. On the 5th of December 2012, just 7 months after getting married, our lives changed forever. We've had a lot more cake since then. Anyway, right, Tom woke one morning and lost his short-term memory. The longest Tom could remember was 5 seconds. He'd also lost his memory of the past 6 months. After a misdiagnosis with the GP, I took Tom to the John Radcliffe Hospital. After 5 days at the John Radcliffe, Tom was diagnosed with encephalitis. It took an MRI scan, CT scan, lumbar puncture, several blood tests, ultrasound, and a PET scan for this to be reached. I remember the day I was told, the room I sat in, the temperature, who was with me, and the words of Dr. Buckley, our consultant. Tom has cancer. It spread, it's attacked a healthy part of his body, his brain. This has caused encephalitis. I can't tell you if Tom will survive, deteriorate, or be in a vegetated state, or if he will make any kind of recovery. I remember feeling alone, isolated, confused, and angry. Angry that everyone cared about Tom's cancer and no one was fighting with me to find out what encephalitis was. What was it? Where was it from? Why hadn't I heard of it? Where is the support? How do we move forward? What happens next? The one thing I learned really quickly from Dr. Buckley, a week for the brain in recovery is like a day for us. The brain is the most powerful and wonderful thing in our body, but the slowest to recover. I know I heard her, but I definitely didn't understand what this really meant. Tom and I both spent the rest of December in the John Radcliffe Hospital. I slept by his side each night on a fishing bed, very comfy, by the way, researching what I could and asking the neurologist numerous questions and writing absolutely everything down. I also remember our drive to hospital on that first day. I remember reading a quote, "A single journey can change the course of life." My gosh, that journey, that drive to hospital on that first day changed both of our lives, and so has encephalitis. The word recovery to me used to mean an end, a get back to normal. The word recovery to me now means something different, a new way of life, new coping mechanisms, new aids, and a new, different thought process. However, I didn't feel this way at the start. I wanted the end, the back to normal. Where does someone go for that support and help with recovery? Tom and I were both so fortunate to be referred from Dr. Buckley to the OCU Nuffield. It was here that we met Audrey Daisley. Tom came to the appointments with hesitance. He came because I asked him. This was our life, our journey, and we needed support. At this point, I felt Tom didn't need a new medication plan, a scan. We needed support with our grief, our loss, our acceptance. We had difficulties. We needed a safe place. We needed something or someone that understood. We have been truly blessed to find support. With the understanding of Audrey, we have come to such a different place. I started with wanting to fight for Tom, his right for his life, his old life, his passions and his dreams. It doesn't need to be a fight for what was. Acceptance is a wonderful word, but only when you truly reach it. For years I said Tom needs to find acceptance. The reality, he found it before me. I will forever ask myself where we would be without Audrey. She has helped me make sense of what we've gone through, process it, allow me to explore different coping strategies. I have a new outlook on Tom's brain injury, his life, my life and our life together. I know that Tom and I would have hit darker, harder times and continued to struggle without the support we had. I have been low, I have struggled, I have resented the situation. I've wanted my old husband back, but with Audrey, I've been able to process. I've been able to understand. I've been able to make the changes for the right reasons and cope with the ever-changing world of living with a brain injury. I have recently left work to become a carer for Tom. This for me was huge, but this isn't a step back. This is moving forward with our needs, our family, our world, and Audrey helped me get there. I am forever grateful to the OCE, to Audrey, and wish that this was available to everyone affected by encephalitis. My kids will kill me for that because they don't like themselves as babies, but there we go. At the start of Tom's illness, he was told he more than likely wouldn't be able to have a family naturally. We're advised to start the beginning steps of IVF prior to Tom's cancer treatment. However, we're incredibly blessed that 2 years on from Tom's brain injury diagnosis and totally unplanned, we fell pregnant. During labour, Tom had 22 seizures. The midwife was rather concerned that I was more worried about Tom than he was of me. So during my labour, we educated our most amazing midwife on what encephalitis was. We made it through and Ava was born. 3 weeks later, Tom had another relapse and ended up back in hospital. Tom had plasma exchange with Ava now riding front seat of family life with a brain injury. Tom came home and we again began to adjust, felt frustrated, managed to move forward one day at a time, this time the reality of living life with a brain injury and a newborn. We were later shot to fall pregnant a second time with our second daughter, Erin. Dr. Buckley made some temporary changes to Tom's medications 2 weeks prior to the due date and a plan for when the baby was born. The increase in medication supported Tom's seizure during my labour and helped once Erin was here. I remember the feeling of being grateful that we had a plan for our second labour, but angry that we had to live like this. This is not what I had planned as a little girl when I dreamt of becoming a mum. I had no idea what it would be like raising children with a co-parent who has a brain injury, how that would affect me as a parent, what that would do for Tom, and more importantly, what it would mean for our children. I spent a lot of time during the girls' first 4 years trying to protect them from this world of brain injury. It was a struggle for Tom and I. Why should they have to be impacted? So we set our mission. Protect the girls. Don't let them see this illness. Let them have a normal life. That doesn't work. You can't hide a brain injury, and nor should you have to. Our girls know no different. They haven't lost a life they had before or a parent they had before. They will and are being brought up with a brain injury, and although this is scary and frightening, they have such natural empathy for Tom and for others. Encephalitis brings us closer. It pushes us further away from each other. It reminds us that we're on this never-ending roller coaster of life. We have huge highs and extreme lows. As I look back on these pictures, I remember times when we are a family full of life, dancing, enjoying each other, and making really special memories. I also remember times when we have been so low, physically separated. My eldest, Ava, crying at night because her daddy was in hospital and couldn't kiss her goodnight. It was on this evening I made the solo decision to let Ava into this world with encephalitis. How can I do that as her mum? How can I protect her? How can I make her age appropriate? How do I get her to understand? Ava feared from not being there. Her fear was huge. I remember thinking it's a Jaws moment. The part feared by most people in the film is when they can't actually see the shark. It's the anticipation of what is to come. Ava had her moment. I could almost hear her say, "Show me what there is to fear, Mum, because I don't know what I'm facing and it's even more scary." Now I know Ava doesn't have to understand. This isn't what she's asking me for. Ava wants love, to feel safe and know that we have got her. Does she need Tom to drive her, make her dinner, wash her clothes? No. For her, she doesn't need any of those practical things from him. On Tom's hardest days, he can still hug her, wrap her in his arms and tell her he loves her, and for Ava, that is her world. There has been a lot of times where Tom isn't able to parent alongside me. Tom could be having a sleep episode of up to 5 hours, having increased seizures, causing him utter exhaustion and making his cognitive function unable to keep up. Alongside all of this, Tom can feel frustration, anger, a lack of patience or understanding. Tom's memory will forget at the times he doesn't need or want it to. Our girls can feel that pressure, the pressure he puts on himself, their own frustration that Daddy doesn't remember what they have told him or what colour their favourite bowl is, which apparently is highly important when you're 5. There we go. It's blue, Tom, by the way. I found myself asking, how do I parent us all through this? How can I be dad and mum? I turned to literature. I've read a lot. I've come across The Colour Monster, the most wonderful book at expressing our feelings through colour. This is a language used so much in our house. Ava, use a green voice, I might say. Ava will stop thinking, thinks of it, and brings her voice to a calm level. Erin, I can see you're red. Let's work it out together. Erin will then be open to talking and not throwing something in anger. Tom didn't get this book. If I'm really honest, I think he felt it was another thing for him to try and remember, another thing he didn't feel involved in. I found this hard. I was the one doing the solo parenting a lot of the time. I needed him to be on board with it. Again, with the support of Audrey and the OCE, we were able to work through this. Just because one of you needs or wants it to work, it doesn't have to work for the other person. Tom was able to take Ava to the OCE to work on some art together, with the support of the OCE and not me. This support is like gold dust. It gave Ava so much, and as parents, we couldn't ask for more. The importance for us, we learned it's okay to parent differently. We are different, and we don't have to be on the same page or even in the same book for it to work. A world pandemic, a world with encephalitis all at the same time. No thank you, I told myself. Yet here we are. We are all going through this pandemic, and I'm sure it has affected you all in some way over the past 18 months. I felt trapped. I was working from home, homeschooling, parenting, supporting Tom, the food shops. I worried about Tom becoming ill. I was trying to be a wife and missing all of my family and friends. I didn't come out of lockdown, reflected, reborn and ready to take on the world. I came out grateful we made it, happy we still liked and loved each other. We lived for our one walk every day in hope we may see another person to give a smile and say hello to. We amended our plans for the days when Tom wasn't well enough to look after the children while I worked or went to the supermarket. We got up, we put one foot in front of the other, and we did what we could. What made all this easier, better, and even brighter was the support that we had. We continued to work with Audrey, and it meant so much knowing we could email in between appointments and remain in touch. We also looked for further support during this difficult time. We joined some of the virtual gatherings with the Encephalitis Society. I did some on my own and some with Tom. This was a huge step for Tom. It was so heartwarming to see him with a different look in his eye. I could see he felt he wasn't the only person out there. I don't have encephalitis. Tom needed that first Zoom more than either of us knew, and as he sits amongst you lovely people here today, Tom can be connected in his way. So much has changed in our lives since we met 15 years ago. We have now had a life together longer with encephalitis than without. As we look back, we can't believe how far we've come. How on earth did we get here? We now have a better understanding of what our family needs are and what encephalitis is. Although we find ourselves with better knowledge, patience and understanding, we are on a roller coaster that we did not buy a ticket for. Tom and I are still learning. Encephalitis affects so many people in different ways. I am confident we will continue to make lovely memories as a family. I am confident we will continue to have hard, darker days where we battle with encephalitis. If we access the support available, if we reach out to others affected, if we communicate even when it is hard, we can do this. This is our life and we will be resilient, we will have faith, we will show courage and continue to hope and find strength. Writing top tips to me implies that you are some sort of expert. I am no expert. I'm a person trying to make sense and find new ways of coping with encephalitis. But I've still wrote 5 down as if I am some sort of expert, but I'm clearly not, just in my own life. Anyway, number 1, be kind. Be kind to yourself, be kind to each other and those around you. We are all affected by this in so many different ways. Be patient. Be patient with yourself. Patient for me means acceptance, and this takes time. Give yourself the time to process, the time to grieve, and the time to accept. Cry. For me, happy or sad, letting go makes everything feel lighter. It can bring comfort, and this isn't always easy. Remember your journey. This picture is of Tom and I celebrating last December. We celebrate on the 11th of December every year. We talk about how far we have come, what we have been through, and look back on our pictures. You've got this. To quote a book that has had such an impact in my life, Glennon Doyle, we can do hard things. I believe it is hard. It will be hard. I find it hard, but we can do hard things. Being given the opportunity to talk to you all today means so much. This conference today is part of Tom and mine's journey. When I was writing what I was going to speak about, Tom listened. We had tears, we shared our feelings, we laughed and we reflected. To be part of this is very special to both of us and shows how far we have come. I've actually never read this last paragraph to Tom, and I've actually never done it without crying, so bear with me. I'm going with top tip number 3. I hope you can all still hear me. I'm immensely proud of you, Tom. You've had your life turned upside down. Might not look at you. Lost so much and had to adapt in so many ways. Yet here you are, wanting to be my husband, a good dad to our girls and supporting me in ways you will never know or understand. Encephalitis, however hard, brings people together. Tom, you brought us here today. You show such courage, strength and resilience without even knowing how wonderful you are. And I love you.
Toni, thank you so much for your honesty, your bravery, your brilliant advice that you shared with our wonderful community just now. And can I just thank you again for your fantastic presentation and for your generosity in sharing your family story and some of your journey with us. I know how much it will mean to other young parents here and online. And now I'm going to be really cheeky and I'm going to do a double whammy from the online because I have a statement first and then a question. One of our online anonymous joiners has said, we all have moments that we feel... Oh no, it's gone, sorry. I'm reading the wrong one. Forgive me. Toni and Tom, I hear every word you say and your words are helping us. Thank you. That was the statement I wanted to start with. They've all muddled around, sorry. Now we'll do the question I was just reading. Forgive me. We all have moments that feel extra dark or we feel extra sad. How do you try and pull yourself out of that mire?
That's a hard question. I think time is the answer. Allow yourself to feel that way. You're allowed to like it, hate it, love it, resent it. Just give yourself the time. Don't be hard on yourself for feeling that way. Possibly. I'm not an expert.
Like you said, you're an expert in your own life, and it sounds like fantastic advice to me. Do we have any questions from the room? Would anybody like to?
Just one thing I'd say.
Oh, sorry, just bear with Laura with the mic.
My voice normally carries, but we'll try. I think you're incredibly brave, both of you. And I think I've never really been moved by an event like this before, but I think you both have been through some tremendously traumatic events, but I think you should both feel very proud of yourself because you're incredibly courageous people. And I just feel personally quite moved to share that story because I think you're both quite very moved by it.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you very much.
I have another statement from our online audience. Toni, just to say that I think Tom met the right wonderful woman. Such courage in both of you.
That's nice. Thank you. Oh dear. Oh dear.
And now I'll stop hogging the mic. Would anybody else in the room like to say anything or have any questions?
You've been very brave. I wish my mother was still with me to lie on her shoulder and cry when I had my encephalitis on the brain. It's been a hard battle, but I'm still here fighting. It's nice to see people who can fight, stand by each other. Sorry about that. All the love. Thank you very much. Bye.
No, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
I have another statement from online and then another question. A very brave woman sharing that story. As a survivor of HSE, I can vouch for everything you've said. Well done, Toni. And I also have a bit of a bossy instruction before I ask you the next question. Can you stand a bit closer to the mic?
Yes.
Sorry, thank you. How would you advise people who feel they've missed out on so much of life because of their encephalitis to deal with or come to terms with these feelings?
It takes a lot of time. A lot of time. Tom and I have been so blessed with the support that we have had, whether it's from friends or family, from each other, the OCE, the Encephalitis Society. I've even called John myself before. Kind of now lost track of what the question was. And I feel like I just keep telling everyone time. It just takes time. Encephalitis changes your life. And I think we look on not what we've lost, but what we now have gained. And we've gained a lot. We wouldn't be here today with all of you lovely people. And we really, really value that and appreciate it.
Thank you, Toni. Well, that's my last online question. If the room doesn't... Oh, no, we've got a room question. Laura's running. For those of you online who can't see Laura's running, she is. She's been as quick as she can. It's a big room. Sorry, guys.
I, again, found that incredibly moving. Thank you so much. I just wanted to second, really, what you said about Dr. Audrey Daisley, who I know was going to be here today but can't be here. I've only accessed her support through one of these conferences when I heard her talking, and I just would echo everything you said, is that she just completely turned around how I felt about the encephalitis journey and dealing with someone who'd had, in my case, like yours, my husband, encephalitis. It made an enormous amount of difference. She just taught me to see things in a completely different way. So I just wanted to echo, really, what you said about Dr. Audrey Daisley. I think she's an absolutely marvellous person, and I would encourage anybody to read up on what she says about it.
Absolutely, yeah. It is sad she can't be here today. And Audrey, I had you flowers, but you're not here, so my mum's stolen them, but I will get you some more. But no, she is. And we do know across the country, it's obviously different levels of support. It can depend on what hospital you're in, where you are, but Oxfordshire with Dr. Audrey Daisley is phenomenal. So incredibly grateful.
Thank you so much, Toni. I think that's our last question, so we'll...
Lovely, thank you.
Thank you so much, Toni, for your wonderful talk. We are very lucky to have you wanting to join our Team Encephalitis volunteers, and we really look forward to working with you.